Hello and welcome back to Spekd. Today we're going to take time to have a look and see what you've all been working on. I'm going to start off with Adam Fox, and he's been working on Necropolis Hawks. Now I'm really excited about this because his Blood Angels are really good, so I'll be really interested to see what he does with these models. So he's got the new models from the Shadow Sphere box set, and he started off with a really light base, and that's a good sign. It's really easy to work up with colours and intensity from that point. I wonder if this would have worked with contrast paints. Okay, one thing that he's consistent with, he always paints his head separate. That's a really good tip. I just tend to struggle with the heads on and think about after. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do it with that Hellblaster there in front. You can see how his head is like behind the gun. It wouldn't make any sense, it'd be really difficult. Now I like the way that yellow combo just pops the shoulder pads and that stripe on the head there. It might be the sergeant. It's really good. It brings that intensity really nicely. Now, if you are a Space Marine player, oh look at that. Loving that sand dust kind of Chaplin look there. Alright, okay, and even the recesses here really great. Look, this is for Space Wolves. Nice work. Sorry, what I was going to say, getting carried away there. If you're a person which tends to play Space Marines and you've been painting one chapter for years, sometimes, even though you build up an easy routine, it can sometimes get a bit monotonous and you need to have a bit of a change. So I suggest selecting a chapter that you don't know much about, find the colours you want to paint and go for it. And that can help break up monotony. Okay. Moving on to his Death Guard cohort Terminators here from Conquest issue 19, but he states so he might not get it. He's working on that and they look really good as well, just starting. And Calgar. Now this model causes a lot of controversy. I'm not a fan of the pose, but I do understand it's a homage to the classic original. But he's painted it really clean and it's very reminiscent of Games Workshop. You can see the heads there. And that's really handy to be able to paint them all at one time as well and get the right kind of lighting details. It does really good work on the heads there. Something I've noticed, he's working on top of a bits box, and it's a really good idea if you've got extra options and multiple pieces to have a bits box just to keep everything in. Some really nice work there. Especially with the whites, because the whites are not so easy to paint. It's really easy to let that get away from you. It's good, you can see he's been working these models at all the different angles as well. Back to the Death Guard here. It looks like I'm not just bringing them back. No, even though it did, it's not. Have a very similar pose. And you can see he's gone for the classic greens. Oh man, these are aggressors. Look at the flamer. Look. He's even hit the purple on them. Nice work. On to Jonathan Hanna, and he has the Adeptus Titanicus box set. And I really want this box set, and it'd be something I'm getting in the future. But he has chosen his colour range here. Some really nice contrasting, but almost subtly fixed colours. So the red against the cream works really well. Against the gold, might not be as strong on the cream, but it pops on the red. So it brings it together nicely. Plasma vents are looking extremely good there. And there's the gilded gold, like that item there, the engraved logo, is not that easy to paint. You have to turn your brush sideways and it's so small that if you can get all the details, you're lucky. But one person's kind of highlighted that if you start with gold first, and then paint in the areas with whatever other colour you want, it becomes a lot easier. And another way to make things easier is to start with the sub-assemblies and paint them separately, and that's what he's done here. And it's really paid off. It's really nice work. Now, if my opponent put that on the table, I will be happy to see that. And coming to think of it, you might even be able to use these with the Apocalypse rules, which are coming out fairly soon. I wonder if that's a thing. But that war host just looks fantastic. Good job, buddy. Good job. yeah, that's beautiful. He's also been working on some stuff for his D&D games, or Pathfinder games, which these skills are transferable. It's not just for one thing and it's done. So having this in place is really good, just being able to get small detail models and use them for your games, for your tabletop games, you know, for those roleplay games, is really handy. It can add to a level of detail, of like realism for that game, just to bring it all together nicely. And it's really paid off. Looking at these traps makes me think, yes, okay, get back to D&D games and Pathfinder games, just so I can have these little models on the table. Next, moving on to Martin Newsome's handle, and we can see here a classic Marine. Now that looks like an old metal Marine he's got there, and it's a classic Terminator 2. And there's a lot of detail going on there. Look at the cresting on the knee pad. That's really detailed work. So these models are a bit smaller and they're a lot more static and a lot harder to work. So getting that detail is an amazing job. Mini Marines. If you have like any models which have been damaged or, you know, didn't glue properly, you can always use them as objective markers and laying them out, putting artificial damage on them and adding in some blood is just great and simple. Now we're getting some classic skeletons just there with the square bases. There we go, they're back again. And again, these are nice pieces of Imperium design if you want to leave them there. But for Pathfinder, not Pathfinder, for D&D, or if you're doing Age of Sigmar, those are really good. Now, this is a piece of work that he sent to me and I couldn't believe it, because I really like the intensity, the rusting, the copper tarnish. It's beautiful, and you got this as a centerpiece, and you get to see how big this is, but that can work for every single tabletop game. You know, whether it's roleplay, whether it's 40k, whether it's Age of Sigmar, having a graveyard could be really good, and I'm really liking that. It's a really good job, and the details in it is just excellent. And even the small detail on the edge of the shield there with the rusting, it might seem like a small thing, but on white, it just stands out. And there it is, look. Even the decayed tree in the corner looks great. That's a really good job. I mean, I would buy that. As a piece complete, I would buy that. I would be happy to buy that. Okay, what have I been working on? So I've been working on the Sons of the Phoenix. I wanted to challenge myself and really work out how to paint white, but I had to use an off-white. And what I went for was kind of like a bluish kind of glaze in the recesses to give it almost like an ultraviolet look. You can see there, the flash has kind of poured through his eyes there, so the underlay of yellow's come through. But with this, I had to use a candle technique that I had from before, but I also had to start building some purity seals. And this is one of these few sets of models where I actually painted the bases. I've got my aggressors there and going on. And I do love the colour combination of the gold, the purple, and the white, and the candle with a touch of orange. To me, it looks nice. But I'm using these characters for the Vigilus campaign that I'm looking to do. So all the items that I've recently got from my Shadow Sphere will be used for these guys. I can't wait to field them on a table and see the look in my opponent's face. Yes. Next up is my Death Guard models. If you've been watching the videos here, you'll see how I painted this tank. And that's how it looks amongst my cohort there. So I went for a theme of rust, plague, and acid. You can see it's almost in 3 sections. So this is the amount of models that you get with your conquest. I do have a few more, but that's okay. I just want to see them all laid out. Especially the yellows there. It's a nice contrast to the muggy colours. I completed the amble. Apart from the base, I need to make the base look like it's from Blackstone Fortress. And talking of bases, that's Abaddon's base up close. It was very hard to see under the camera light there. But the earth tones, I used a variety of different colours to make it stand out. Well, this has been Spekd. I've enjoyed my time, hope you've enjoyed yours. Send in your pics, don't forget, and PC